Welcome to Objections with Stan Willis. He's Stan Willis. I'm not. Stan, how are you?
He's Mike Morris, and I'm not.
Licensed, unlicensed.
Exactly.
Okay. Could we ever go to court
I really
together?
think I'd rather talk to the tree.
First of all,
hello, tree.
I don't think we give the tree enough credit. I hope the tree is in the shot because Nate said we need something to make the room pop. So we have this tree back here, which we're going to raise into a young foal. Is that for a deer or is that a tree?
Yeah, whatever. Foal. Are you talking like a horse? Colt?
See what I mean? Licensed, unlicensed. We should do, now I think about it, we should raise this tree and then we should do a second show that's just about like arboretum things. Arborarium. What's the word?
I think you're insulting the tree, man.
Well, I'm only insulting its religion. So I will get a dictionary, okay? So this week I thought we'd talk about another uplifting topic. Nancy Pelosi at 90 years old, still humming, and they are trying to pass another, I think the number's $3.5 trillion. I
thought it was 3.9. It's ridiculous.
It keeps, every time that I look it up, the number, because originally it was like 2.5, now it's 3.5, 3.9, whatever it is. It's not going to come to pass, right? So they don't have enough votes.
No, I think you get two Democrat holdouts and
then you have the progressives. So there's 7 progressives that already said because they want to vote. They're trying to combine 2 bills into one vote. And people are saying, we're not going to do that. Even Bernie Sanders and his Great Clips haircut, he's upset about it. So he's saying he won't vote for it either. So it's not going to happen. Bigger question. The amount of paperwork that comes with this to read huge. Through these bills. Because there's always pork shoved into this thing. So it's like vote. 90% of this is what we talked about. And then, by the way, we slipped this in here. Like the fact that Puerto Rico can't be a state, but Puerto Rico can't declare bankruptcy also. That's a bill. That's pork that got shoved in 1990 to the Grand Wizard guy from West Virginia. I forget his name. Strom Thurmond. No, not Strom Thurmond. Robert Byrd. Friendly guy to half the population. So, but he shoved that in there for some reason. And so during the hurricanes and all that, that's why people were constantly in a panic about Puerto Rico is they can't declare bankruptcy. They can't get any real aid from us because of something that was voted on in a completely separate bill. That's what's happening here is there's so much pork that's being added to this. You don't have time to read it. Does that happen in the law practices? Because my favorite thing is in A Few Good Men when he says, I'm going to blind you with so much paperwork you won't even know. And at the end of the day, he's going to get off for a $50 fine or whatever. Do lawyers really do that?
I think they, well, let me think about this. I think that when you deal with certain attorneys, not all attorneys, but with certain attorneys, there are certain attorneys who will attempt to bury you with those kinds of just motion after motion and things like that in order to make it harder for you. Although it would be unethical for them to do that, so I can't really accuse them of doing it solely for that.
So we can say their names, but we won't say that they do that.
Right.
Just like randomly put names in here.
So Charlie Brown, I'm just sorry, Charlie. Nice shirt, by the way. I mean, they do, but you know, the fact is, as a lawyer, I'm reading all that. I mean,
but you are going to take the time to read through.
You read it, you understand it. You have to answer that. So when when you get a 40-page brief, you have to read and understand the brief and understand the arguments so that you can make counter arguments.
But are you returning another 40 pages back? Like I read this
sometimes,
but you're not doing it literally just to be annoying.
We kill a lot of trees in this industry.
I find it fascinating whenever you go into a law office and there's all the books, but then there's stacks of those like computer paper things. Right. And I'm like, who's reading all this? Like how many people?
You won't see those in our office, by the way, because we're all electronic.
Oh, because you've gone green?
We're paperless.
Oh.
The weird thing is we're paperless, but we still use a freaking lot of paper. It's because there are so many places where you just have to have the paper. I mean, so some courts don't take filings electronically. Some
They don't?
Some don't.
You're telling me the government has not gone green, even though they're talking about going green?
Not all of them. Some of them have, but not all.
But they'd still have to print it. Even if you said it electronically, they'd still have to print it for signatures and all that, right?
Well, you can do electronic signatures now, but then a lot of courts don't accept electronic signatures. And a lot of banks don't accept electronic signatures, but others do.
Really? Why is that? Because of a fraud?
As a rule, court systems tend to lag behind the rest of the country technology-wise by a decade or two. So... I don't know why you made me think of this. I was thinking about what you said a few weeks ago. It looked like it hurt, didn't it?
No.
You want to come give him CPR or
I
something?
could not believe he does want to put his lips on me. That's not a lie.
Some kind
That's
of weird.
Look at this. This is what's selling this thing. You said something
okay,
about...
Man? You having a seizure?
I got so excited because...
Let's take a minute here.
A lot of people will say they like to listen to this show, and I'm not one of them. But you said something a few weeks ago to me, and I don't know if you said it on the air or not. And you said that criminals are so dumb they eventually get caught. It's not that our police force or FBI or whatever catches these people.
I'm quoting my law professor in college, and what he said was, we don't catch criminals because we're so smart. We catch criminals because they're so dumb.
Well, I had to get this in here because it's timely. Dog the Bounty Hunter.
Dog the Bounty Hunter.
Okay. Yeah. First of all, I'd only seen that show. The first time I saw it, I thought
he's a good looking guy, Dog the Bounty
Hunter. He
Hunter.
is. Yeah. His skin is so smooth.
And silky. I mean, honestly.
That hair though.
He's got a good esthetician.
That guy looks like the guy that always has a VIP pass to the pit at Kid Rock. Yeah. But here's what the first time I saw it, I thought it was Reno 911. I thought it was a mock, because I saw his wife and her huge bazooms. And I was just like, this is the worst casting. Like, no one would take this serious. I did not know this was real. He said he's
not real. It's reality TV. It's the difference.
I don't see a difference. I don't see a difference. Star Trek's a documentary. But I saw that he is on the case of this, what's his name? Brian. Let's call him Daughtry. That singer from American Idol, because I can't remember his name. So he's on Brian Daughtry's case.
I can't think of it now because you said Daughtry.
One of the greatest rock and roll.
What's the guy's name? What's his name, Nate? Google it for us real quick so we can do this.
So we can be accurate. Here's the thing. He literally is holding up a Monster energy drink that's been punctured, and he's like, he drank this. I feel like they're looking for Loch Ness. But if Dog the Bounty Hunter catches this dude before the FBI,
Larby or something like that, isn't it?
I think you're thinking of what they call a butterfly in that cocoon stage is a larvae.
Larvae.
Yeah. So we've covered trees and bugs today. But would you, as a lawyer, and myself as a lawyer, would you look at Dog the Bounty Hunter as though he's the greatest? He's the Elliot Ness of mullets. Is that fair to say? If he catches this kid,
well, first of all, you're still not a lawyer.
Okay.
No matter how many times you say it.
But if I went to court with you, it's like take your kid to work day. Could I go to work with you and you're working on a case, but when you stand up, I follow you? So I'm not really saying anything, but I'm sternly.
This is my attaché.
Yeah. So you're saying, and you must acquit them. And then I would look at a jury all handsome and I'd be like, could I do that? Brian Laundrie? Laundrie. That is a made up name. Either way. So Brian Laundrie is being hunted by Dog the Bounty Hunter, which is the craziest sentence I've ever said. But if he catches him, now I thought about this because I haven't been paying that much attention to the case because I feel like after Joy Reid said that we only care about pretty white women, she was right. I've been looking at pretty white women for 40 some years and I love them. When they go missing, I don't have the time to look for them because we have to do this show. But if Dog the Bounty Hunter catches this dude,
man.
How am I awful? Because I'm expressing myself.
So if Dog the Bounty Hunter does catch this guy, yeah, he is the king of the mullets. He takes over for Billy Ray Cyrus as mullet king.
Do you know?
Although Blake Shelton had a pretty serious mullet back in the day.
This is all I'm going to say.
I gotta say,
Billy Ray Cyrus never
tip of the hat
solved
to
any
Blake.
crimes. Billy Ray Cyrus brought a daughter who commits crimes, but he has never solved one. Dog would be. We should build a statue to him if he finds Brian Laundrie. That doesn't even. I think we're saying this wrong. This whole show is a shambles because we can't get the name right. But when you said that, that was the first thing I thought of is this guy is going to solve the case that the FBI can't figure out.
He might. I don't know.
All
He's
right,
got, he's got all kinds of, because he's a private citizen, he can use tactics that the police really aren't supposed to use. So.
What, getting off their ass? I don't think that the FBI and CIA never seems to go anywhere.
Well, the CIA isn't technically allowed to do anything inside the United States against United States citizens.
And they never do.
No, of course they don't. But the FBI has a lot of resources, but this guy flew the coop. He's probably, my guess is he's out of the country.
Like Vandersloot?
Or something like that, yeah.
How about that guy got caught because he did it again?
There's a lot of places, even in the United States, that are pretty freaking desolate. I mean, you could get lost for a long time.
Name those states and what crimes we'd have to commit to go there.
Wow.
In order. Like, don't give me bank fraud. We can go anywhere and do that. I mean, like, could I commit large-scale murder and go to Nevada?
I don't know. Is it legal in Nevada? I mean, everything else is.
You're not allowed to discuss what happens in Las Vegas.
Literally everything else is legal in Nevada. I'm not sure murder.
What's like the worst state? Like, how people are like, Florida's full of hobos, and they're right, because if you go to Tampa.
Depends on what you mean by worst.
All right. So where could I come? It seems to me in New York City, anything goes. You can run up and down the street with a machete and it's fine. As long as you wear a mask.
And get, have your passport.
So I could leave the country?
No, your vaccination passport. You have to have that.
No one's getting that.
You have to have that in New York if you want to run up and down the street with a machete. You have to have your vaccine passport. Did you see that a bunch of restaurant owners in New York are protesting that?
I did. Well, did you see the group of people that came, I think it was from Texas, and jumped the server who said, you need to wear a mask? Like, they were just stating it. So they just jumped her ass and beat her up. And then the BLM people came down and protested.
For the record, beating people up is not the way to deal with this. Okay, moving on.
This is why we disagree, counselor, because I will say this. If somebody, let's just say somebody's looking at you a little weird at a Safeway or something, beat the shit out of them. Now, that's as a lawyer speaking, okay? Non-practicing.
Non-practicing, non-licensed.
It's not important. But here's what I find odd. We are socially offended by rules put in place by, let's just call them the overlords, and we're attacking each other on the street.
Because of them.
Right.
Yes.
One person is enforcing it. So my question is, would somebody, not you, maybe somebody, Hans, downstairs, would somebody handle the case of the person who got assaulted for enforcing the rules, or do they even have a case?
Well, let's say that happened in Ohio, not New York.
I would love it if it did.
I'm in Ohio. If that happened in Ohio, the waitress would have a case against the people who injured her.
Right.
It'd be a personal injury case, and probably, even though it's an intentional act, there's a possibility that their homeowner's insurance might provide coverage for something like that.
If they have umbrella insurance, does that also cover punching a waitress?
It depends on the policy, but yeah, it could.
There's a policy that I could get. If I had the policy, I could just slap chop Nate over here.
Well, some of those policies try to exempt intentional acts. So like if I'm playing golf and I have no control, like me, I have no control over what's going to happen after the club hits the ball, assuming that I don't whiff. Right. If I hit a golf ball and hit you in the head, other than being really happy about that,
that's insensitive. That's insensitive.
My homeowner's insurance would cover that because that's that accidental. I mean, I wasn't intentionally trying to hurt. Some policies though will have an exceptions where if I come up and punch you, that's an intentional act. So the the insurance policy is not going to cover that.
What if I was swinging at a bird
But some do.
and I miss and I punch you right in your punum?
Well, then that would be an accident, but we might have a issue of fact at court about whether or not it was an accident. But then the waitress, going back to her, she would also have a workers' comp claim because she was injured at work in the course and scope of her.
So now the restaurant's also involved in this.
So the restaurant's going to be on the hook for the injuries, and if they can't get if she can't get reimbursement from the people who assaulted her, who would also be liable to the state because they've committed the crime of assault and battery.
All of this over crab legs, by the way.
Right,
That's all this is.
Crab legs and masks. It's hard to eat crab legs through a mask. I mean, I've tried.
Not if you go from the side. Like, you guys are trying to do it straight on. You can't do that. It's like when you're trying to parallel park.
Besides all
get
that,
a little hole here.
Crab legs are just not worth the effort. I'm sorry.
It's not worth 3 people beating up a girl that weighs 90 pounds.
By the time you do all the cracking and everything, and you get that out, you get that one little taste. I'm like, sorry, man. Give me a big old piece of cow. Give me a big old piece of cow where I just cut, eat. It's just so much better.
You and your golfing and red-blooded American things, eating steak. I do find it odd that the enforcement of these rules, because I saw it here locally. Mm-hmm. Somebody wasn't wearing a mask, and somebody wouldn't let them in the store, and so they start shouting and screaming. And I just thought, it's not that important to go buy that hat at Lids. You could probably just get it online. Mm-hmm. But you're causing people that work there for $10 to $15 an hour to enforce a policy that they probably don't believe in anyway, and you're restricting someone from coming in. Now, who wants to go in that store because somebody's showing their ass and getting upset, so upset about it? It's just not worth it.
Right. Well, the problem is, and this is my take on things. So if Hilliard had a mask mandate, if they did, and I know several of the restaurant owners in Hilliard, and I'm going to go into one of my friends' restaurants, and they're just trying to stay open. I'm probably going to put the mask on because I don't want to get them in trouble.
Right.
And it's not their fault. I mean, that's not, in my opinion, the right place to protest that, because my not wearing a mask probably doesn't affect me. At the end of the day, I might get kicked out of the restaurant or something, but it doesn't affect me, but it could affect their ability to make a living. So, when you're looking at mask mandates, if Hilliard's mayor issued that, then that's the person that needs to hear the protest. That's the person that needs to hear the protest. So not wearing a mask into the restaurant doesn't get your message to the person that needs to hear the message.
Well, let's take it one step further then, because I look at it as a small business person and you're a tall business person. I look at it and say,
tall. I'm 6'2". It's okay.
Well, I don't know.
I know taller ones. I mean,
I don't know that you have to.
I had a couple friends that are like 6'5".
I know a lawyer that's like 5'6" and he wears lifts in his shoes, so he's 5'8". I'm just saying.
I don't doubt that.
But on a billboard, he's huge. He's 40 feet.
Well, yeah. I mean, especially if you get that one downtown that Orangeville Media has. I mean, that thing's enormous.
Isn't that awesome? My daughter says, "Why don't you buy that billboard?" And I said, "Because it's $30,000 a month." Right. You'd have to get a lot of.
When they built that? So I have a friend who works there. When they built that was like the largest structure built strictly for billboard advertising in the country.
And it has the same 3 advertisers, and it's people rogue.
It's because nobody else can afford it.
Right.
I mean, 30 grand a month.
I mean, I can't even imagine that commission check on that. Because
see, that's your problem. You should be working for Orangeville Media.
I am here because we are spreading freedom through the airwaves. That's what I'm here for. And occasionally I get paid by other people. My question would be, going back to the mask mandate situation.
You're actually here because I am such an awesome person. You just have to be around me.
Stan, we're supposed to tell the truth on the show.
That's what Nate told me.
Yeah, but Nate also leaves in the middle of the show to go to the bathroom for 20 minutes. I don't think he's listening to any of this. I want to go back to this question because you're also a consumer. When you see,
I consume a lot of things.
I know. We've been to restaurants many times, and you have consumed. When you see that people,
last time I'm buying.
That's not. That's not an insult. It's a slight insult. It's you can't say jab or we'll get this pulled. When you see that this is affecting business owners, like the mall, when they reenacted that policy, Mayor Ginther, courageous fella, the mall traffic literally went down like 60%. So movie theaters weren't back up to where they were, but let's say there were 20, 30 people in there. Now there's 2. Restaurants, food courts, they're all kind of empty. Mm-hmm. And I think some people do it because that's out of habit or I work close or whatever. What do you think? Like if I was a business owner that I was stuck in there and I have to pay my lease or my rent, there's got to be something in there to protect me. And I don't think there is in any insurance policy that says, what is it? And it's not a pandemic insurance. There's Act of God. Is that what it's called?
Yeah. Well, yeah, but acts of God tend to be exceptions in a lot of policies. But yeah, I mean, it doesn't qualify as that. And I doubt that anybody has pandemic insurance. And
do you think anyone will ever sell pandemic insurance? I would think the premiums on that.
Somebody might. I mean, you can.
I think somebody will at some point. But
athletes can get their bodies
Lloyd's of London
by against things, and I guess certain models have gotten insurance.
Mary Hart, she had a Lloyd's of London thing on her legs and she sat behind a table all the time. Yeah. I didn't understand that.
You could probably get your ears insured. I mean, those are pretty quality things.
That's so hurtful. They were passed down to me from my abuelo. R.I.P. abuelo.
Abuelo is Spanish for uncle.
No, it's not.
Oh, it's grandfather.
Yes.
From his grandfather.
Yes.
Tio is actually Spanish for uncle.
Tio stole my pinky. No.
Sorry. Sorry, he confuses me.
I just want to point out that we are.
It's grandfather, not uncle.
Yeah.
It might, whatever.
You were getting on me for not knowing what the name of multiple trees or the study of trees are, and now you're using incorrect Spanish. Mo ritmo. I would like to know though, in moving forward, if we're in this situation, what looks like through 2023, because that's a study that I just saw. And again, I got it from the mass media, so it's wrong.
Well, here's the thing: if you think about this, okay, so if you are Amazon, who's your competition?
They don't really have any. I mean,
who is their competition?
Well, I'm thinking the box stores.
AMC.
It's Target.
It's AMC.
Oh, I'm
right?
sorry. I thought you were talking about.
Well, I guess Amazon.
No, that makes sense.
I did say Amazon. I'm Netflix. But for Amazon, who's your competition? It's Walmart,
right? And
it's the physical location,
right?
So what's best for Amazon? Is it best for Amazon if people are out running around, going and seeing things and shopping, or is it best for Amazon if people are sitting at home bored out of their minds, looking at their computer screens, thinking, "Okay, I need another grill and 4 more fake trees and some lounge chairs." I mean, what's better for Amazon?
No, that makes sense.
So who's Netflix competition? I mean, Netflix competition is not Hulu.
No, I mean Netflix
competition is AMC. So because if you can go out and go to the movies, you're not going to sit at home and stream on Netflix, right?
The other part of that, though,
so I'm saying when you're looking at the always follow the money. Always follow the money. In the first 6 months of the pandemics, in the first 6 months of the shutdowns from the pandemic, the wealthiest people in the country made $585 billion more. They got wealthier by
on top of what they already have.
On top of what they $585 billion. So they increased their wealth by $585 billion. So you're looking at Facebook, you're looking at Netflix, you're looking at Amazon, Walmart online. I mean, all of these people made money like crazy. So if you're Jeff Bezos, what are you going to support? You're going to be all in favor of these lockdowns because it makes you a lot of money, right? So you're not going to, and if you're Mark Zuckerberg, you're not going to be out there fighting for the rights of the individual to speak freely because you like the lockdowns, right? You like people more on their computers, right?
More time spent on your site.
So it's, I don't know if there's necessarily this big conspiracy. I think that it's just people acting according to the human nature, and human nature is I'm going to act the way that it benefits me the most. And so, if I can write an algorithm that promotes a form of communication that helps me get wealthier because I get more clicks and more advertisers because I have more clicks, and so it's more money for me, then that's what I'm going to do.
Right.
And if there's not a law or government interference to stop me from doing that, then I'm just going to do it because it makes me more money. Right. So when you look at the censorship that's going on, I don't think that the censorship is ideologically based. I think it is personal gain based. I really think that it's more about I want more, and if I do this, I'm going to get more. If I allow a free speech platform, it's going to hurt my pocketbook.
That all makes sense. It's almost like you're saying all the bad guys are in charge. And I'm not going to put that in your mouth, but to summarize today, go out and support small businesses.
Amen.
And punch every waitress you can find. That's been Objections with Stan Willis. We'll see you next week.